Hello friends, good evening, good morning. I'm back with my challenge. This is day 14 and this is going to be a video. It's not an FB live. I'm out of Chennai and where I am there is no internet connection. So I'm going to do a video and upload it when there is availability of network. So today I'm going to talk about feedback. So feedback, I have mentioned I think a week before, like how to take feedback constructively, and that is something I want to discuss today. And when we are managing teams, when we are managing people and their promises, we often tend to give feedback. I think most of the time whatever we speak is more or less a feedback on the views that we have, or as a response to someone's question or concern. So to begin with, feedback, as a leader, we often do this feedback session with our reporting managers or leaders, and they we have to put forward this feedback in a positive way, in a constructive way, that the other person takes it as a point to learn and grow or build from there. So in a general sense, when we are speaking, we are actually either responding or reacting. These are the two ways we speak to someone. And when you are giving a feedback, you're actually putting your thoughts across for the other person to listen and understand what you are trying to say, and what is your concern, and what is the in fact intention of what you're trying to communicate. So that's the feedback. And when you're giving a feedback, it's more appropriate that you tell the other person that you're going to share something which they may agree, may not agree, may like it or not, but you would like to share this because this is something you wanted to say. And you can request them to take it positively. So in that case, when you are a person at authority as a boss, the reporting employees will give you a listening because it is coming from an authority. But when it is at home, or people at home, it is it is not as simple as that, because you don't take permissions to say something. It is just spontaneous. You say something and that's it, and you get a response immediately. But yes, having intentional conversations with your children, where you really want to say something that they may or may not like as a feedback, we can always have these conversations with them. So when we upfront tell them that I'm going to share something which I request you to listen and be unbiased in creating a view. You can agree, you may not agree, but this is what I have to say. So this provides other person an opportunity to provide complete listening to you, so that you are heard, and they are prepared to you know listen to you. They're prepared to hear what you want to say, and then you say what you have to say and make sure you're heard. And even you may even ask them that what they got from what you're trying to say, and make sure that what you really wanted to communicate was communicated and not something else. So this is how you can give a feedback. So first of all, create a stage, create a background, like I want to share something. Make the other person comfortable that this is something important and that this is going to help you and me, and then have the conversation. And once you complete, you can have asked them whether they agree or disagree, or maybe you can cross check, like what did you get from this conversation, So you will understand whether the person has really gotten your communication, and is he or she going to take it in a positive way. And if they have a concern, they can, always share that, so that you are clear. So if it is a if it is about resolving a conflict, definitely they will have their own things to say, and maybe you can settle at a point where both are heard and communicated. So there is a possibility of communication, there's a possibility of connecting with each other, and yet sharing what is there in your mind, what is that you want to share to, resolve the conflict or resolve a problem, or say something or give a feedback, which is something, you are have a doubt like the other person is going to like it or not. So positive feedback or something that means you are appreciating, acknowledging someone. I think everybody would welcome that kind of a conversation. But when it comes to a negative feedback, or if you're sharing from a commitment and concern, then it depends. People get offended. No, it is very easy. People get offended because that is the first experience they have, is that there's something wrong with me. You're trying to say something that communicates that there's something wrong with the other person, or something, it's like judging them, evaluating them, that they are not good enough. So since you don't want them to experience that kind of a thing, and keep those assumptions aside and listen to you, and take it in a way that it is constructive, progressive, and they see something to build or create in your conversation. So that's how a feedback can be offered, in a way which is, it's a compassionate way of communicating, yet making a difference, and being heard, and listening to other person completely. And that's when the communication happens. So this is when you are giving a feedback. Now what happens when you receive a feedback? And especially people at authority, rarely people come up and speak with you, unless you have somebody who is, your mentor, or someone to whom you are reporting. They will come and give you feedback. But getting feedback from people who report to you is something, no, a healthy conversation that you can have, so that you are there is a scope where people can uh, share their views, share their opinions, and they are clear that you will take it positively. So if you want people to take your feedback positively, you should be someone who is open to take their criticism and their concern positively. So receiving a feedback. So again, there are 2-3 things to look at when you receive a feedback. So mostly people tend to react. As I said, it's not a response to a question, or a response to something people said. It's mostly a reaction, because we also come from a place like, they are trying to make me wrong, or they're finding a mistake in what I did or what I said. So the judgment and evaluation comes first when we are also receiving a feedback. And they may not or warn you, like, I am actually sharing something that is a feedback. It will be just flat in front of you, and they say something and you are offended. So the best thing to do is, you can listen from a place where it is yeah. So when you're receiving a feedback, or you're receiving something, like someone is saying something to you, and it could be an opinion, it could be a view, or it could be even a response to what you said. It could be anything, but we can bring in a practice where we listen to them in a way that they experience that they heard you. You heard them, sorry. You heard them completely. It's not that you jump into the conversation and trying to make a point. So listening to them completely, and they experience that, okay, you heard, I'm listening to you, and whatever you want to say, you can clearly explain, or you can elaborate, and you know. So first thing is giving the other person an experience that they are heard, and you can even ask them, do you want to say anything more, before you even make a response. So again, once they are completely heard, you can also notice the kind of emotions they are going through when they are saying something. So let's say somebody is coming with a complaint, and they could be angry, frustrated, and no, they may not choose their words, so it would be spontaneous, and they may blast at you. So as a reaction, you can get angry or agitated, and it will run into an argument. But at the same point, if you are cool and calm and give them complete listening, so that will allow them to say what they have to say, because it's a complaint, something they're not happy about it. And then once everything is said, they're able to completely say whatever they wanted to say. And then look at, definitely they're angry, upset, frustrated. And a third thing that you have to see is, what is their commitment in this conversation? Are they up here to fight with you, or make you feel wrong, or make you, put you down, or is there something else? Because when people, generally, if people are coming for an argument, definitely they are frustrated, and they are throwing up their emotions just to feel themselves satisfied. And it's just a human thing that they actually vomit all their conversations and emotions in front of you. Now it's up to you to how to handle that kind of a response or a feedback. So you can be calm, you can listen to them, give them your complete listening, have them experience that you heard them. And once they are completely, they have said what they had to say, and then you see that if they are angry, they're frustrated, so don't use a language that will agitate or take things worse. In fact, be compassionate in choosing the vocabulary where it is it is kind of calm and peaceful that can lead to a peaceful conversation and a peaceful end to the conversation. The third thing is to look at the commitment. So definitely when people come up with a complaint, there is a broken promise, and you have to pick that promise and see what you can do about that broken promise. It's again not about managing your emotions and their emotions and managing the drama around it. It's about managing the promise. What is that is broken? And you can go and directly pick that promise. Okay, this is what did not happen, that has actually frustrated or agitated you, and you are at the receiving end, you are facing a consequence of that. So let's look at how you can manage this promise now. And so in such conversations, you have to in seconds handle the emotion, see what's their commitment. So definitely something they're upset about, like how are you managing to fulfill the commitment they have and you have in that relationship. So get present that you're committed, and get present that they are also committed, and it is about peace and making a progress with this broken promise and what we can do next. So when you are receiving a feedback which actually you don't want to hear, that's a complaint. So first thing is to allow them that they are heard. If you jump in and make a conversation and make a point, or maybe that could be a reaction, an agitation, that you are provoked, then it will lead to an argument and maybe a violence in the conversation. But if you're calm, allow them to complete what they have to say, and then look at what is the emotion, what is the commitment, what is the promise broken. And in your conversation, you bring forth all your intention to be committed in this relationship, and you are here to manage this promise rather than the drama around this. So identifying these emotions and commitments in a conversation needs continuous practice to identify your thoughts. How are these thoughts coming to you? Because this is a very spontaneous thing, like someone is coming and complaining, he may be abusive in using the language, but you have to have control in not being provoked by these conversation, and have peace and calm in your mind, so that you allow the other person to say what they have to say, and look at the broken promise and work on managing that inside the commitment you and the other person has. So anything can be resolved in communication. That's something I believe. And when you allow people to be heard, and you when they experience that they are heard, then they will give the opportunity for you to speak and complete the communication. So yes, this is how negative feedbacks can be given, and negative feedbacks can be received and handled in a progressive way, in a constructive way, where the commitment in that relationship is maintained, and you are here again managing a promise, managing a commitment with intention, and your compassionate, powerful, and skillful communication comes into play, where you provide complete listening so that you can speak in a way that you can share your intention fully. So this is something very powerful technique when it comes to a leader, that he communicates freely and fully, that other person gets your communication. So being in authority, you always have an edge, but when you're not, especially at home, it doesn't come that easily, and you have to build those abilities to be a compassionate person, to listen and give a response which is going to help each other, rather than being destructive and being abusive and being violent and proving a point. No, it's about having a communication that is positive, progressive, and it resolves the conflict, and so that you and the other person can move from that point to a new possibility in that relationship. So this is about feedback, and I was mainly talking about a negative feedback which you can give or receive from someone at workplace or at home, and how you can handle compassionately, powerfully in your listening and speaking. So that's all for today on feedback. So tomorrow I'm going to talk about being stuck. If you have started something, some game in your life, there is an extraordinary possibility that you want to fulfill, and you have created a plan and everything is in place, and you reach a point where you are stuck and you see that there is no opening for actions, then what to do? So I'll discuss that tomorrow. So till that time, bye bye, take care, see you.